Hey there, we're doing the Blueskin flashing video. It's during the COVID-19 pandemic, so we're donning masks, of course. I'm Todd Skopik, Building Science Manager in the Northeast, and with me is Jerry Hengschleben, Field Tech Rep in the Mid-Atlantic. So we're going to be showing the Method B window flashing DRO. So that's when the flashing membrane gets installed prior to the field membrane. So we're going to be using option 1 for the gusset in the corner, and you'll see as this progresses. Thank you. So right now we're doing the application of the Blueskin LVC primer. And Jerry, about how long is that going to take to flash off on a day like today? Jerry?
15 minutes.
About 15 minutes on a day like today?
Yes.
Now if it was cold and damp, how long would it take to flash off?
30 minutes.
30 minutes on a damp, cold day. But we got a sunny day today, pretty dry, probably about 50 degrees, warming up quick. About 10 or 15 minutes. So what kind of roller is that? Is that a whiz roller?
Just a little hot dog roller.
Little
4-inch hot dog.
roller. And then we're going to do the pipe penetration. So I see you're getting the primer on the substrate, which is OSB. What about the, oh, we're going to get the metal can as well. Now, for metal and PVC penetrations, do we recommend abrading that first?
No.
So
No abrasion.
Not necessary to abrade.
Nope.
And that's about it, right?
That's it.
All right, so the primer's been on for about 10 minutes, and we're going to check to see if it's sufficiently dry, if it's flashed off enough. So how do you test that, Jerry?
Yeah, just lightly knuckle twist it. If you get primer off, it's still too wet, but if it sticks and does nothing on your knuckle, it's good to go.
So it's the knuckle twist method.
Yep. See, there it pulled the part of the OSB off.
Okay, so sufficiently dried.
Yes.
So if you get primer off, it's not dried. If you get no primer on your knuckle, then it's dry.
Correct.
The knuckle twist method.
Dry.
So what's going on now, Jerry?
Installing the gusset in the corner.
Installing the gusset in the corner. That's a very critical detail, right?
That is correct.
So basically there's a peel and stick, peeling off the release paper. Now are you stretching that into the corner?
Yes. Just forcing it in, yes.
Stretching it and forcing it in. So this is called the bow tie gusset. Is what we recommend on our website. There's another method that I guess is probably a little bit more common or popular, is just using a triangle, right, Jerry?
That is correct.
So the triangle is another option, but maybe nationally the bow tie gusset is more popular. And then you got the blade. You got the blade to push that in. That's a critical part of that, right? So the blade is good. Essentially, it replaces using a roller and forces that gusset right into the corner, right?
That is correct.
So that's the first step after priming, is to put the gusset in. So next we're taking the release paper off the, so what is that, a 6-inch strip?
That is correct.
So putting that horizontal, and some sticky stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now this is a very important step here. As you see, Jerry's taking his blade and he's running it horizontal to the sill. Okay?
Keep in mind, if the membrane runs horizontally, you cut it horizontally.
That's the rule. If the membrane runs horizontally, you cut it horizontally. So you got to remember that.
Start in the middle.
So you hold it in the middle, And you're gonna get that blade, keep the blade handy. So that's just a spackle blade, right?
Just for drywall. Yep.
It's a drywall blade, spackle blade, about 4 inches. Nice. He's using the blade to just sort of smooth it out. Now, are you going to be rolling that as well?
Once the whole RO gets done, we will be rolling the whole window opening.
All right. Okay, so we put the membrane on the sill first, always, and then we're going to do the jam. So you see he takes the release paper off, folds it in half, and hangs that on there vertically. Fortunately, we have a nice warm sunny day. Well, it's probably 50, 55. Now see here, he's cutting, and he's cutting the same direction as the membrane. So if the membrane runs vertically, you cut vertically. General rule of thumb. You cut the membrane the same direction as the membrane's going. And as you see here, he's going to feed this right into the corner. Got that blade handy. Pushing that right up into the corner. One and done. Very nice. It's got the membrane handy there. Already pre-cut. Taking the release paper off. Folding it in half. Blue plastic to blue plastic, splitting the difference between the field and the opening. So it's a 6-inch strip, so 3 inches on, 3 inches in. And here again, cutting it vertically. The membrane's going vertically, so we're cutting it vertically. And that goes right in. Taking the blade, pushing it in. Pushing that up in there. Yeah, some people call this a bluebird day. This is a blueskin day. Beautiful blue sky. So there's the sill and the jam. So next will be the head. I'm just going to roll. I can edit this as needed. And then we got the headpiece. Basically the third step, the sill, the jams, and then the head. So again, 3 inches on, 3 inches in. That's a nice little technique, Gary, sort of holding that in place so it doesn't fall on you. You're going to cut that horizontally. The membrane, same, you cut the same direction as the membrane. So there he's just sort of touching it in place so it stays tight, out of the way.
Especially in a hot day.
Especially on a hot day. So here again, visualizing where that corner is, cutting it, and then just wrapping it right in there, nice and tight. So just using the blade to basically put it in place, make sure there's no big wrinkles. Now the critical rolling. Rolling is very critical. Make sure it's all nice and tight, rubbed into the substrate, pressed in. Now, if that was going to be left out for a few days, would you be doing anything else?
We'll be sealing these top edges. Any leading edge has to be sealed on a daily basis.
Right. So any overnight exposed leading edge that would be terminated with the 925 sealant.
Yep.
Right. So
Ready?
what are we doing now?
This piece is pre-cut for the pipe penetration. What you want to do, you want to fold it in half, press it tight, and when you get done, as you open it up, it gets a little groove, open release from the membrane.
Yep.
Then you take a knife, slice it down the backside.
A nice sharp knife,
Yes.
not boogered up with
Nope.
rubberized asphalt.
Then you got that release.
Oh, nice.
Then, depending on the size of the penetration, it indicates how big the fingers are,
How long the fingers?
how big they are, how wide.
Oh, right, exactly. So we're going to do 3 inches on the penetration, 3 inches on the field.
Oh.
So if it's a really big penetration, you'd have wider fingers.
Wider fingers, that is
If
correct.
it's a tight penetration, you would have skinnier fingers.
You peel off one side.
All right.
Come around here. Measure it so you start at 11 o'clock. Come around the pipe, you should finish at 1 or 2.
Okay. So you start at 11. So that the rubberized asphalt's exposed on the side going against the penetration, as you see. And you've already pre-measured this, so you know that you're going to go
Up and over.
Yep. So at this point, you're going to be removing the release paper. You want your blade?
Nope. And one at a time. Been out in the sun.
So one at a time, you're going to be pulling back the fingers. You can see why you had that membrane in the shade. Around here. There we go.
This will all get rolled out.
We're going to bring that membrane around to 2 o'clock.
It's not a little shy, but it's
Yeah, 1:30. As long as you get a good overlap, at least an inch. Remove the remaining release paper. So those additional fingers get basically doubled up.
That's correct.
And there you have it. Of course, you want to make sure that the pipe penetration is nice and tight to the substrate before you even begin. And then take your blade, make sure it's all nice and tight. There you go. So there's the pipe penetration. All right, so now we're doing the target patch over the penetration. You pre-cut that as tight as to the penetration as you can. There's the bottom part. Then all this is going to get rolled into place after it's all installed. There's the bottom piece of the target patch. And we're going to take the top piece of the target patch. smoothed out. And then next, we're going to take a roller, roll that all into place. Then the final step will be a bead of 925. Nice heavy bead. That's nice. There's a 925 sealing around there. And that is, now we're going to do basically a night termination or end of the day termination. What Jerry was saying, some consultants, best practice would be to do the whole perimeter. Is called picture framing, but really you don't need to picture frame it from our perspective. But some specifications, some engineers would want the whole thing picture framed. So Jerry's picture framing the window RO, and then you could also picture frame the target patch of the pipe penetration. So at this point, this could be left exposed for whatever we say. Hey Jerry, you're gonna.
I'll do that.
Yep. So it's just gonna tool that out. And then tool out the 925 sealant on the sheet. There you go. And then a final. So you probably usually would have a top, you have a leading edge of the Blueskin. We just don't on this application because of the little mock-up that we did. So that is very well terminated. Now just tool it slightly with your blade. And it is done. There you have window flashing of a rough window opening, method B, option 1. And at this point, this could be left exposed for 30, 60 days, and then you come back and could either put a fluid applied right onto the 925 and the surface of the Blueskin SA, or you could bring a sheet membrane and lap the sheet membrane onto the Blueskin SA, and then you'd be done.